Chapter 51. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The thing is, I should have seen it coming when you got caught. You're way too buddy-buddy with humans. I can't stand guys like you. You grew up with Fisher Tiger in Fishman District, and your own brother Arlong was killed by humans. And now, instead of getting revenge, you're cheering for the enemy. You're even dumber than Neptune. If I become king of this island, everything changes. This year's World Conference is our chance. I'll make those human kings bleed right there in Marihoa. That'll kick off the legend of our terrifying underwater kingdom. I'll drag every human on Earth down into the sea and use them as slaves. Pfft. Luffy burst out laughing. You gotta be kidding me. Look at yourself. You're fugly and delusional. Sounds great, but don't let your uncle kick your butt when he sees you. You're just a junkie with no guts. I don't know where you get your courage from. I'm embarrassed just standing next to you. For guys like you, I've got one thing to say: you're lower than dirt. All bark, no bite. Anyone who didn't know you would think you were some online trash talker. But even calling you that would be an insult. You're just a mosquito buzzing in everyone's ear. One swat and you're done. Luffy, when did he get so chatty? Usopp stared, watching Luffy's verbal barrage. He asked Chopper, who just shrugged. Hody's face darkened with every word. He shoved a human slave forward. You're pretty mouthy, aren't you? Look at the miserable state of these pirates who thought they were so tough. That's your future, Straw Hat. I'm gonna be the real pirate king. Ha 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 ha. What can you 12 weaklings do? I've got 100,000 men on my side. Do Straw Hat and Jinbe even stand a chance against those numbers? Fishman Island Resident A. If we lose, Fishman Island falls into Hody's hands. We'll be kicked out of our home. Straw Hat, Jinbe, you have to win. Fishman Island Resident B. Kill them. New Fishman pirates, attack. Hody still didn't grasp the situation. Whoa. 100,000 guys. How are we supposed to fight that? That's insane. Chopper. Nothing good ever comes from hanging around you guys. Papago realized the key to survival was staying far away from the main characters. Sounds like we're gonna get crushed before the fight even starts. Robin. Getting crushed is scary. Usopp. 100,000 enemies. That's unbelievable. My eyes are going all swirly. Not that they aren't usually swirly, yahohoho. Brook. Don't worry, I'll purify your dirty souls with my singing. Yuta. I haven't had a good workout in ages. Hope you guys can give me a good time. Bonnie. What's 100,000? Let's get this party started. Nami immediately hid behind Zoro, Sanji, and Usopp, using them as human shields. Hey! Don't use us as shields. Usopp, Luffy, jealous of Nami's safety plan, had an idea. He pulled out a fruit. Nami, want this? What is that? It's not a devil fruit, is it? Nami looked at the weird fruit in her hand. If it is, we could sell it. I don't want to become a landlubber. Don't be silly. It's a natural cloud fruit, no side effects. I went through a lot of trouble to get it. Actually, Luffy got it as a login reward when he was making dumplings with the Empress. Nami hesitated, then ate it. Hey, it's good. I thought devil fruits were supposed to taste awful. This one doesn't have any side effects, and it tastes good, of course. I have something to give you after the battle, too. Let's fight first. Luffy glanced at the envious faces around him. Been waiting for this. It's my turn to shine. Check out my super armor. Let's go. Frankie. There are 12 of us, does that mean we each have to take out, like, 8,000 people? Sanji. Just because they outnumber us doesn't mean they'll win. Besides, they're not Navy elites or anything. What are you so afraid of? Zoro, Sanji, naturally, took offense. Who's afraid? You damn moss head. Bring it on, you nosebleed cook. Luffy shoved them both apart, just like always. He wanted to show off. He didn't want them to steal his spotlight. Everyone was confused by what Luffy was going to do. Luffy simply walked forward. Naturally, the small fry of the new fisherman pirates weren't going to pass up an opportunity. That 2 billion bounty is mine. I'm not losing to you. Just as their blades were about to reach Luffy, a flash of crimson light erupted from his eyes. Instantly, 50,000 fishmen foamed at the mouth and collapsed. Luffy had deliberately held back. Even Hody Jones was sweating bullets. Whether it's 100,000 or 1 million, you're just more and more weaklings. Like fragile eggs, you'll crack with a single touch. Don't you get it? The difference between you and me is like a firefly and the moon. If I was on a journey to the west, you wouldn't even make it as one of my 81 tribulations. I don't care if you're king of some small-time island, but pirate king. You're just a frog in a well, and you have no idea how vast this world really is. And me? I'm like a chess player. Even if there are gods in the world, I'll still beat them by a pawn. Hody, right? You just wait right there. I'm gonna kick your butt. Hody was still in shock. Luffy was already heading back. Was that hockey? Robin. He's trained to this level in just 2 years. Jinbe. Hockey, that guy's got some real talent. Sanji. If he couldn't do that, we'd have to replace the captain. Zoro. Amazing, Master Luffy. Shirahoshi, some of the fishman pirates were already thinking about running, but Hody's core followers were extremists. Where do you think you're going? You deserve to die for deserting on the day of the Fishman Revolution. So what if 50,000 are down? We've still got 50,000 more. Straw Hat and his crew are our sworn enemies. They keep thwarting our ambitions, said Yero, bolstering the troops. And Jinbe is the embodiment of the worst future for our people, living peacefully with humans, just like Otoheim wanted. Chapter 52. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The battle raged on. Geo's boosted morale reignited the fishman pirates' dwindling spirits. That's right. The Straw Hats are just human. Jinbe, that fishman traitor, kill him. Meanwhile, Zoro tied on his bandana, flexing his arms, and said to Luffy, Luffy, wiping out 50,000 in one shot. That's a real buzzkill, man. Luffy shrugged. Really? I was holding back. They're just too weak. Why are you so hyped up? I'll handle the 30,000 myself, got it, green hair. Sanji couldn't resist a jab at Zoro. Shut your trap, bleeder. Brook, alright, everybody, time for a live performance amidst this chaos. Oh yeah, Robin, stone-faced, immediately shut him down, nobody came to your concert. Miscellaneous fish, nobody's even listening. Geo, because I'm whispering. Miscellaneous fish, where do you get your confidence? Hody, get M. Luffy, roger that. Luffy leaped into the air, forming a gesture with his right hand. Sun as arrow, moon as bow. Seasons unending. Arrows of the twin gods. Luffy's attack was unique, combining two opposing elements that amplified each other. The bow glowed blue, the arrow burned orange, the devastating force took out another chunk of pirates, but Luffy held back. He could wipe them all out in seconds, but where's the fun in that for everyone else? Jinbe, alright, let's move out. Zoro, that guy's already making his move. Sanji, since you've seen Shirahoshi's tears, any man who can't dry a woman's tears isn't worth a damn. Time to raise some hell. How about drinks at the Mermaid Cafe afterward? With Shirahoshi, of course. With a battle cry from the Fishman pirates, Sanji launched forward, kicking a random pirate with ease. Konkase. We won't let you destroy the mermaid paradise. Zoro's cold gaze swept over the charging fishmen. Let's see who breaks first, you or them. 108-pound cannon. A blast of intense sword energy ripped through the fishmen. Watch where you're going, woman. Someone shoved Robin. Fishman Island, a country cradling vital world history, won't be easily destroyed by you. Not by humans, not by countries, not by anything. 30 Fleur. What is this? Arms sprouted from the fishmen surrounding Robin. Clutch. Robin snapped her fingers, dislocating the pirate's joints. Brooke, this is awesome. Perfect for a live show. Brooke launched into a bizarre dance, followed by a cacophony of howls. A very receptive audience tonight, yo-ho-ho-ho. Fishmen, woman. Die. A group of pirates charged Yuta, who began to sing New Genesis, a song she and Luffy created. The pirates found themselves frozen, but Yuta gave them no time to react. With a few powerful notes, she blasted them away. Still not as good as Luffy when he was a kid. Fishmen, watch your mouth, show off. More pirates swarmed Yuta. She smiled, and a blur of pink hair flashed past. In seconds, the fishmen had been aged into infants or elderly, doddering wrecks. Bonnie, good job. Yuta, no need to thank me, we've been training together with Hancock for 2 years. Bonnie grinned, throwing an arm around Yuta. Shirahoshi, seeing everyone's relaxed attitude, covered her mouth and giggled, on the other side. Chopper, gotcha. Several fishmen thought they had won as they captured Chopper. Chopper, rumble ball. Chopper transformed into Kung Fu Point, pummeling the pirates into oblivion. With a nunchaku, he'd be unstoppable. Chopper, no matter how many of you there are, bring it on. Fishman pirate, the reindeer transformed. Chopper, I'm not a reindeer. Usopp, special move, Green Star Devil. Man-eating plants sprouted behind the fishman pirates, devouring them unnoticed. Fishmen, we're being eaten. Usopp, take that, Green Star shoots. You can call me Green Star Usopp, master of the Green Star HOP. As Usopp basked in his glory, a fishman swung a knife at him, *clang, lightning struck the attacker. Usopp looked over to see Nami holding the Climattact, a small flame flickering on the fishman's head where the lightning had struck. Thanks, Nami. Usopp said, adjusting his goggles. Nami, I thought you were getting stronger, but this is your level. Nami said dryly. You're too weak. Look at the monster trio, although Sanji hasn't even started yet. Fishman pirate, die, woman. Another surprise attack. But it passed right through Nami as if she were a ghost. She turned into a cloud, enveloping the attacker's head. Suffocation. Frankie, the atmosphere's supercharged. Frankie was ready to show off his manly side. With 50,000 opponents, this is the perfect stage. Usopp, what is that? Chopper, what, Frankie? Frankie, the Sunnies got new weapons. And 2 of them. Anyone want a test drive? Frankie looked like a shady guy offering kids candy. Chopper and Usopp rushed over, eyes gleaming, but Nami held back. Now that she was a Logia, and sensing Luffy's jealousy that she wasn't hiding behind him, she decided to give him some space. Shirahoshi, amazing. Dharma, what are you doing? It's embarrassing. Hody Jones, if you think you can protect that giant mermaid, then try to protect her from this. Strike. Hody aimed his strike directly at Shirahoshi. On the way, a boy in a straw hat and white shirt appeared and shouted, Shinra Tensei. A small Shinra Tensei blast deflected the strike. Jinbe, looks like I don't need to step in. Jinbe slowly lowered his hand. Chapter 53. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was livid with rage. Jiajia, you think you can withstand Captain Hodi's water shot after he's fully awakened his beastly side? Daruma hopped around on the rocks like some kind of manic circus clown. That guy's a true monster, broke into Marineford twice and made it out alive. Humph. I don't know where you pulled that power from, but your fishman karate still isn't up to par. Jinbei scoffed. He didn't stop him, but that didn't mean he couldn't talk trash. Enough with the nonsense. If you want to get to the princess, you'll have to go through us first. Water shot. Another water shot took down several more fishman pirates. Why are you hesitating? You were cornered from the start. Hodi glared at his men, who were starting to get cold feet. Clang. Zoro sliced through the swords of the fishmen attacking him. How boring. Humph. Don't get cocky. Try cutting through the armor of our new fishman pirates' iron-armored unit before you go bragging. The fishman in front of Geo brandished a tortoise-shell-like shield of iron armor. I'll shatter that pathetic sword of yours. Go, iron-armored unit. Zoro looked at them coldly, recalling his 2 years of training, and prepared his attack, three-sword style, black rope, great tornado. Zoro unleashed a massive spinning vortex, powerful enough to tear through the iron armor. He cut through the armor like it was nothing. Fishman A. What was that attack? Was that the Grim Reaper's scythe? Fishman B. It's unstoppable. It's a human shredding tornado. Fishman C. Where does this madness end? Fishman D. At the gates of hell. Zoro helpfully informed them. He's the best, I love him. Use your brains. Daruma yelled. Raise the bubble shields and snatch Princess Shirahoshi from above. Sanji glanced up at the fishmen in the sky, lighting a cigarette, using that tactic, huh? He was surrounded by the spiky porcupine fishmen. Mr. Sanji, this is bad news. How can you be so relaxed? Brook looked at Sanji, envious. Honestly, he wanted to relax too. Little did Brook know, Sanji was thinking about the good old days back with those transvestites. Looking back, I actually miss it. Always running away, rain or shine. Even when it was storming. Running. Am I really going to let these guys push me around? Have you forgotten about the Sabaody archipelago already? Finally, one day, I had nowhere to run, so I jumped into the sky. As the porcupine fishmen lunged at him, Sanji launched himself upwards. Sky walk. Seeing the porcupine fishmen lying defeated, Luffy didn't even bother with hand signs this time, just making a gesture, fire style, great fireball jutsu. A large group of porcupine fishmen were instantly turned into roasted sea urchins. That's the CP9's moonwalk. Robin recognized Sanji's skywalking technique from the former CP organization. Hey, you guys. If you want to hit on Miss Shirahoshi, you'll have to get past me first. Sanji was cool as heck 1 second, and a grotesque caricature the next. I'm the knight who gives children nightmares. Brother Sanji. I'm very sorry, I like Lord Luffy. Shirahoshi said softly. Arg. Luffy. Sanji was devastated. Why is this happening to me? What are you getting so worked up about? The fishmen stuck their tongues out at Sanji to show their contempt. TCH, whatever, you want to mess with these scrubs? Diable jam, iron pot, spectrum. Sanji spun around, kicking fishmen left and right. Luffy charged straight into the crowd, knocking fishmen down left and right. One sword dance, moves all directions. Another new move, and more fishmen went down. Hodi was getting desperate. The Straw Hat crew was tearing through the ranks. Zoro and Sanji exchanged glances, punctuated by Zoro's smug grin. The competition has just begun, Mosshead. As if I'd lose to you, Mr. Nosebleed. Jinbei, Bonnie, and Yuta were baffled by this exchange. Bonnie and Yuta were probably used to it. But Jinbei wasn't. What are they even arguing about? Don't worry about it, they're always like this. Robin said reassuringly. That's something that hasn't changed at all. Nami said, speechless, as she watched the two bickering like children. Cloud dragon, a white dragon weaved in and out of the fishmen, suffocating some and turning others into jerky. Frankie hopped onto the Sunny. The area's clear. It's showtime. Frankie, Chopper, Usopp, and Papago rolled out two new weapons onto the stage. A particularly large fishman, having been pummeled by Zoro and Sanji, crashed at Hodi's feet. As he looked up at Hody, he said something he would regret. Those guys are too strong. Huh? What did you just say? Hody's eyes narrowed as he grabbed the fishman by the neck. You said humans are strong. Are you another one of those soft fishmen? I'm so disappointed. I don't need weaklings who fear humans. Hody tossed him aside and plopped back onto his throne. Hurry up and kill Shirahoshi. The arrival of the new weapons didn't register with anyone, including Luffy. Luffy stared intently at Hody, waiting for the Kraken to appear so he could drag Hody into the sea and defeat him on his own turf. There was nothing more humiliating than that, and the residents in the square were watching the battle unfold. Awesome. Those guys are incredible. Fishman Island Resident A. There are only 12 of them, and they're taking on 100,000 people. Fishman Island Resident B. Pirates. The Straw Hat Pirates. Their bounties are comparable to the 4 emperors. Those guys might actually save Fishman Island. Save us. Fishman Island Resident C. The residents of Fishman Island cheered on Luffy and his friends, eating and drinking like it was a party. Don't get too cocky. Hody stood up from his throne. Come forth, Kraken. And there it was, Kraken, who had been defeated by Luffy and his friends, shuffled out from the back. The Straw Hat Pirates were speechless. Talk about bad luck. Kraken spotted the guys who had knocked his legs out from under him. Hell hath no fury like a Kraken scorned. Kraken charged towards Luffy without a second thought, but Luffy unleashed his Conqueror's Haki, instantly taming the beast. Luffy told Kraken that he would protect his brother in the Arctic, and Kraken switched sides. Chapter 54. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were both thrilled. Squiddy, protect Shirahoshi. Luffy leaped off the Kraken, glaring at Hody. Alright, our turn. Hody, you're coming with me to the seabed. Before Hody could react, a powerful suction yanked him toward Luffy. What kind of pull is this? Luffy shot out of Fishman Island, dragging Hody along. Squiddy, keep Shirahoshi safe. Why did you name him Squiddy? Nami said, exasperated. Squiddy, please look after me, Shirahoshi said sweetly to the Kraken that Luffy had assigned to her. The old Kraken, Clark, actually blushed. Down at the seabed, Luffy tossed Hody away. Hody grinned, relieved to be in his element, though he was confused how Luffy was breathing. Ha 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 ha. Straw Hat, you idiot. The sea is my turf. How can a landlubber like you, who can barely breathe down here, hope to win? Though I still don't know how you're managing to breathe underwater. Back in the fray, Daruma popped out of the ground. You're way too cocky. I'll have you begging for mercy soon enough. G.I.G. With that, Daruma burrowed back into the earth. The perpetually drowsy Baozong woke up, still looking completely hammered. He blinked around. Huh? Where am I? Giancourt Plaza, Geo said to Baozong, did you forget? Baozong ignored Geo, scanning the area. Looks like there are a few guys worth hitting. Get out of my way, you're in the way. He drew his sword, swinging wildly at anyone nearby, friend or foe. Stop it, Baozong. Usopp and Chopper stumbled into Daruma's trap. Frankie, seeing this, charged in to help, and promptly fell in himself. Furious, Frankie ejected them from the Braccio Tank Unit 5, the two new weapons began to merge, forming General Frankie. Usopp and Chopper stared, eyes wide with wonder, practically drooling. Meanwhile, Frankie, piloting the mech, thought to himself. Vegapunk, the genius scientist I never met, the dream you described. Over the last 2 years, through endless experimentation, I've realized that dream using shape memory alloy, Wapple metal. Don't get cocky. A fishman pirate shouted, charging at Frankie. The plunderer's sword. Frankie. General Frankie pulled out the huge sword from his back. Usopp and Chopper burst into tears of joy. General Frankie swung the sword, using it like a massive club. Take this. And this. Shoulder cannon attack. Frankie cannon. Frankie popped out of the cockpit, cannons now mounted on his shoulders, and started blasting the area. Fishmen went flying. You're firing the cannons yourself. Usopp gaped. But. Chopper echoed. You're so awesome. ×2. Nami and the other girls watched General Frankie, completely baffled by their reaction. There's not a normal person on this ship. Damn it, what a cheap trick, a fishman muttered as General Frankie fell toward them. General Crush. Usopp and Chopper chanted how amazing the general was, how they'd follow him anywhere. Where's the awesome? Nami grumbled. Just then, a fishman snuck up behind her, ready to strike. Nami saw him, but didn't dodge. The fishman's attack slammed into Nami's shoulder, but she didn't even flinch. Are you a devil fruit user? Cheap shot. Climb attacked, gust sword, a powerful blast of wind launched the fishman flying dozens of meters. Don't underestimate the science of weatheria. Damn, I got kicked out of the tank. Usopp complained, seeing a fishman charging at him. Is this all I can do? Nope. I'm not the same guy I used to be. Special move, Green Star, Bamboo Javelin. Improvised bamboo spikes erupted beneath the charging fishman's feet, tipped with sharpened points. Usopp tapped his long nose. Master Heracles, I will never forget the 2 years of hard training in that jungle. Now the real adventure starts. The Great Adventure of Usopp. Chapter 2. Meanwhile, underground. Gaga. I'll turn this plaza into one giant death trap. You fall into my trap, and it's game over. Daruma paused, hearing a noise. He listened closer. Someone else was digging. Huh. Someone else is down here. Daruma looked down to see a figure hurtling toward him. A coral antler slammed into Daruma, launching him out of the ground. Chopper burst from the earth right behind him. Daruma got blasted out. Who did that? Daruma looked at the figure that had emerged, furious. Me. Wrestling has been strengthened, and I'm super strong at digging now. I've powered up 6 of my 7 transformations. Only the blue ball needs a little more work. The others are good to go. Chopper declared. You arrogant coral head. Chopper did, admittedly, look like a coral head at that moment. I'll tear you apart. It's not coral, it's an antler. And I'm a monster. Chopper retorted, looking adorably fierce, back with the islanders. How can all of these guys be so strong? Fishman Island Resident A. It's like they've been holding back for ages. Fishman Island Resident B. A battered fishman stumbled in front of a group of officers. How many did you take down? Geo asked. 0, the fishman groaned, then fainted. Luffy watched Hody swimming back and forth, annoyed. Forget this, Hody, let's end this now. Ha 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 ha. A quick end is exactly what you'll get, Straw Hat. Same Yabu. Hody stopped and fired a cannonball at Luffy. Is that all you've got, Hody? I wonder if you're immune to lightning. Chidori Flow. A surge of raw electricity enveloped Luffy's entire body. Surrounded by seawater, the electricity arced out through the water toward Hody, paralyzing him instantly. Chapter 55. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were both stoked. Alright, Hody, let's see if you're lightning-proof. Chidori Stream. Luffy crackled with electric energy, surrounded by water. He channeled the electricity through the water toward Hody, electrocuting him stiff. Luffy glanced at Hody, whose eyes were rolling back in his head, and sighed. Bored, he tossed him aside, letting the electricity dissipate. Hey, wake up, dude. It's not that bad. You wanna enslave humans? What gave you the nerve? Luffy, still bored, watched Hody still faking it. He knew Hody was playing possum, waiting for a chance to sucker punch him. Seriously? Don't pretend to be out cold when you're awake, or I'll think I'm fighting an idiot. TCH. Exposed, Hody ditched the act, grabbed a fistful of the deadly ES drug, and swallowed it. He immediately started bulking up. Hey, why are you always popping pills? Kidney problems, maybe? I could write you a prescription, you know. My special recipe's got a kick like arsenic, 1 dose and you're done. No pain, no itch, no nothing. Zebo's finest work. You're welcome. Luffy quipped. Hody, not understanding a word, knew it wasn't complimentary. Water heart, quake shark. He slammed his hands into the water, launching a water shark directly at Luffy. Luffy grinned at the approaching water shark. What a lame attack. Sea quake. Luffy unleashed the power of the tremor fruit, and the water shark disintegrated into nothing before it reached him. How can a low-life human breathe underwater? It's a trick, ha 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 ha. Straw Hat Boy, I see through your illusion. Humans can't breathe at sea. Hody cackled maniacally. Luffy shook his head. This guy was nuts. You still don't get it, do you? You're just a fish I can fillet whenever I want. Got it? You got power you didn't earn, and it's made you plain dumb. Hody launched a wild attack. Luffy, losing patience, raised his hand. All things sonic boom. Ore 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 ora. A barrage of fists pummeled Hody, every single punch landing. He took massive damage and passed out again. But Luffy wasn't done yet. He shoved a recovery pill into Hody's mouth. The instant Hody woke up, Luffy's fire fist slammed into him again. Hody screamed in pain and fainted. Seeing Hody rolling his eyes again, Luffy gouged them out, then force-fed him another recovery pill. Hody panicked when he realized he couldn't see. Luffy's voice echoed in his ears. So, what was that about wanting to be king? Domain expansion, infinite space. Hody realized he was paralyzed. No matter how hard he struggled, he couldn't move an inch. Now he was truly terrified. Straw Hat Boy, I'm the Avenger chosen by God. You can't do this to me. Let me go, and I'll stop you from being a slave. Luffy just stared, speechless. Enough. Neptune can deal with you. Moon hypnosis. Luffy, holding Hody's mangled form, suddenly had an idea. Would release clone. He smiled at the identical clone in front of him. Go. Give him to me. Luffy made a throat-slitting gesture. With that, Luffy's body carried Hody to the bottom of the plaza, while the clone swam at top speed out to sea, toward Punk Hazard. Luffy and Hody Jones crashed down from the sky, creating a crater in the plaza. Luffy looked around and saw the fighting was still ongoing. His arrival stunned everyone. Captain Hody, defeated. A fishman shrieked in terror. Impossible. That's Captain Hody, a monster fueled by ES poison. Daruma exclaimed. Luffy sighed at the continuing chaos, shook his head, and sat down with the unconscious Hody to watch the show. Yuta saw him and jumped to his side, throwing herself into his arms. Luffy, the fishermen pirates, except for a few key members, had lost their will to fight. And those key members, willing to kill their own allies on a whim, forced everyone else to surrender. Straw Hat Boy, what did you do with Captain Vanderdecken? A massive, bald sea monster dropped from the sky. Luffy, holding Yuta close, glanced at the descending brute, set Yuta down, and leaped up. He drew cherry stone and dead wood from his waist. Two-sword style, cherry blossom blizzard. Luffy slashed an X across the sea god's chest. The intense pain made the monster's eyes roll back. Sanji leaped into the air, the events of 2 years ago flashing in his mind, and he ignited. Hell memories. Alright, everyone, let's wrap this up. No more fooling around. This was the first thing Luffy said since his arrival. Hearing this, Zoro grinned, turning away from Bao Zhang, who clearly had no fight left in him. Get lost. I don't cut down losers who don't want to fight. Bao Zhang coated his blade with poison and charged Zoro. You bastard. I'm Bao Zhang, the #1 swordsman on Fishman Island. Purgatory Demon / Zoro sent Bao Zhang packing. Sorry, I thought you were some nobody. Chopper transformed into his monster form, shocking everyone. Luckily, he quickly explained that he could control the form at will, easing their fears. Then, Chopper swatted Dose away like a fly. Hammond, who had been scared off by Luffy earlier, was quickly dislocated by Robin, followed by a full-area attack by Nami. Ikaros was still yelling 1 second, and the next, Frankie, inside the cockpit, vaporized him with a free laser beam. Brook, with his superhuman predictive abilities, sent Geo home crying. The battle was over. All the key members of the new Fishman pirates had been defeated. Without Vanderdecken's interference, Noah didn't crash into Fishman Island, and Luffy didn't suffer any serious injuries. Meanwhile, Luffy's wood-style clone, relying on the map provided by the system and its own speed, had already infiltrated Dressrosa. Besides Terra's advanced hockey, no one else's works. But he can't find me, so the infiltration is successful. Time to find that garbage dump. Chapter 56. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was fuming. Luffy's would release clone, using the system's map and his own speed, slipped into Dressrosa unnoticed. Trauman's observation hockey is the only real threat, but he'll never find me. Time to locate that garbage dump. With his stealth skills, Luffy's clone quickly found the underground garbage dump entrance from the original story. No guards in sight. Easy in, easy out. Luffy's clone scanned the area, hunting for the pink dragon. After a week of searching, nothing. Could it be he hasn't eaten the fruit yet? Luffy wondered, and slipped out of the dump and into the room where the kids were locked up. Meanwhile, back at Fishman Island, the royal treasures of Ryugu Castle were safe, and Neptune was still busy clearing Luffy and his crew of any blame for the island's near destruction. What was left of the new Fishman pirates and the human pirates were freaking out. We gotta get out of here. If we're caught, it's curtains. Run. We humans want nothing to do with this. Where do you think you're going? A big blue guy stepped in front of them. It was Jinbei, who hadn't done much in this whole mess. Save us. Some of the Fishman pirates thought they were hot stuff. We'll just use bubbles to fly to the sky and be home free. Think again. Jinbei blasted their bubble escape plan with a water strike. Anyone trying to bail with bubbles is getting shot down. Damn. We were just following orders. Some tried the reasonable approach. Let us go. We were just afraid of Hodi's crew. One of the human captains pushed his way to the front. We can leave any time. This is a Fishman problem. Humans built this tourist trap, thanks to the generosity of human pirates. Just open the gates and let us go. I never said I was gonna execute you all. Jinbei lowered his guard. We're waiting for the king's orders. The minister of the right then announced that Luffy and his crew had no intentions of destroying Fishman Island. The residents felt ashamed when they heard what the child had to say. Because they were human, they always had doubts. Or because of the fake prophecy, Luffy and the gang didn't sweat it, they just hung out. Luffy grinned and opened his arms to Nami. Nami gave him a look. 100,000 berries. No problem. Nami was stunned. She hadn't expected him to agree so fast. But before she knew it, she was in Luffy's arms. Sanji was the only one who was furious. Chopper was suffering from the aftereffects of using his power. After everyone had a good time, they all waited to see what Neptune would do next. Shirahoshi. You're gonna die. If you won't play with me, then you're going down. A voice rang out. It sounded like Vanderdecken, who Luffy had faked the death of, except this time he came in person instead of throwing Noah. Looks like he'd taken a beating. Sharingan, Tsukimi. Luffy's eyes turned blood red, and Vanderdecken collapsed. In Luffy's illusion, he was being stabbed endlessly for 3 days straight. Neptune, how'd this bozo escape? Luffy shook his head. If he'd known Neptune was so unreliable, he wouldn't have bothered. Neptune just smiled awkwardly and grabbed a loudspeaker to address the crowd. Everyone, relax. These guys will never cause trouble again. That the residents of Fishman Island cheered, the remnants of the new Fishman pirates stared at Hody in disbelief. They'd become twisted monsters. Neptune announced that Fishman Street would be closed from now on. Then he addressed the human pirates and the Fishman pirates' remnants. Human pirates, go back to the surface. What happened here has nothing to do with you. Yes. We're free. Hody got what he deserved. Some were even crying, I thought I was gonna be a slave forever. Straw Hat, we owe you one. I'm gonna be the Pirate King. Declared an old man, easily over 50, before he could finish, a strong suction pulled him forward. He looked up to see Luffy grinning down at him. Hey, Pops, what kingdom did you say you were after? Well, The guy stammered. Luffy gave him a pat on the back. Dream big, but don't blurt it out in front of a powerful pirate. If I was Kaido, you'd be eating Thunderbugwa. Lay off the Pirate King talk. I'm more than enough to be the king of the seas. Now get out of here. That the guy felt like he'd dodged a bullet and took off running. Finally, we can head to the new world. That the ministers on both sides looked uneasy. Is this really a good idea? If we let Hody's prisoners go, will they turn their hate towards us fishmen? Before Neptune could answer, Luffy cut in. If they try something, I remember Whitebeard protected Fishman Island. I'll do it this time, for Shirahoshi. Lord Luffy. Shirahoshi beamed. Regardless, this island has become a tourist spot. They had no evil intentions. So there's no reason to keep them. Neptune shared his thoughts. Then he looked at the new Fishman pirates' remnants. As for the new Fishman pirates' remnants, I don't want to die. Spare us. We didn't know the princess was killed by Hody. They were completely crazy. Yeah, it's all his fault. We didn't do anything wrong. Luffy frowned and used his powers to yank the guy who'd said that forward, grabbing him by the neck. Nothing wrong. What about the Fishman Island residents you brutalized? That's disgusting. Neptune sighed. Luffy, I want them all to live on the main island of Fishman Island. A buzz went through the crowd, and Neptune added, under military supervision, of course. Some were happy with that, others weren't, but they all knew they'd survived. You're too soft, Pops. Luffy sighed. Wait a minute. What did you just call me? I haven't agreed to you and Shirahoshi's relationship. Neptune's face turned shark-like. Don't jump to conclusions. And with that weak body of yours, how are you going to handle Shirahoshi? Father, if it's Luffy, I'm willing. Shirahoshi declared bravely, then hid behind the sunny. Neptune spat out a mouthful of blood. What the heck, a girl can't be kept. Don't worry. I have a potion that can turn Shirahoshi into a human whenever she wants. Luffy said with a mysterious grin. Then he turned to Jinbei. Jinbei, join my crew. Chapter 57. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Okay, Jinbei, Luffy said after a moment, take your time. I'm stoked you're considering joining, but you gotta settle your debts, you know. Even pirates have a code. When you're ready, you're in. Deal? Thanks a bunch. Neptune stepped forward. Luffy, how about we head to Ryugu Castle for a feast? Sweet. Let's get Hachi and Kami too. Meanwhile, Luffy's would release clone felt his way to Monet's office on Punk Hazard and spotted Caesar, clearly gassed. Luffy ignored him and eyed Monet. She was hot and had a killer figure, but way too loyal to Doflamingo. He remembered the main body had some memory recordings of Doflamingo and Germa, he wondered if she'd buy it. If she did, cool. If not, the main body had a slave mark. Worst case, he would destroy the flowers. Behind Monet, Luffy checked out the kids list she was flipping through. No Momonosuke. Bummer. He went back out to search. He finally found Momonosuke in the room with the devil fruits, squatting down and drooling at them, clearly starving. Luffy didn't say a word, just chopped him with a hand, and Momonosuke went down. Looking at the devil fruit, Luffy frowned. It wouldn't do them any good. After a moment, he tossed it into the system space to sell it. He picked up the unconscious Momonosuke and headed out of Punk Hazard. Momonosuke woke up mid-trip and, seeing the ocean below, peed himself. Good thing Luffy was holding his braid, or he'd have been too freaked out to sleep for 2 weeks and chucked him in the ocean, ruining his clothes. He took him to a remote, deserted island and woke him up. Momonosuke looked at him, terrified, but still puffed up. Who are you? Why are you taking off my clothes? I command you to dress me at once. Luffy frowned. This kid was clueless. He hadn't figured out the situation. Luffy lost it and pinned Momonosuke to a tree stump. He pulled out the Dragon Slayer sword and started cutting from his feet to his neck. Luffy was covered in Momonosuke's nasty blood, and Momonosuke had already passed out. Luffy looked at Momonosuke, horror and resolve in his eyes. He had to see what was going on in this 8-year-old's head and why he was such a pervert. Next, Luffy used his medical skill from the system to cut open Momonosuke's brain, bit by bit. To his surprise, there was no brain matter, just water. Luffy was still unsatisfied. This guy was a cruel perv. He took advantage of Nami and Robin later on. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. Luffy cut off Momonosuke's tongue, set his body on fire, saved a chunk of his body, and scattered the ashes. System, what does it take to revive Momonosuke? The clone could use the system, so the would release clone asked directly, ding. Host, you can use the 9 turns resurrection pill. TSK, any other way? I don't want to waste it on him. It wasn't that Luffy was stingy, but the 9 turns resurrection pill. Luffy had only signed for 6 of those, and Momonosuke didn't even deserve the leftovers. You can use the outer path reincarnation natural technique. That requires the main body. Forget it, let's go back. Luffy gave up on the idea. He decided to head back, stash the body tissue in the system space, and hit Punk Hazard again. In the underground garbage dump, he used the transformation technique to turn some trash into a Momonosuke body. Back on Fishman Island, Luffy removed his clone, leaving a smear of blood on the ground. Luffy's real body, partying in Ryugu Castle, paused, looked weird, then went back to the banquet. Yuta and Luffy teamed up to perform another song. It was A Do Against the Light. From the original, and Luffy already had Yuta's next song lined up, Blue Bird. And Show It Ben. He'd heard it before crossing over. Yuta and Luffy sang together, and everyone was blown away. Luffy could sing. After a few days apart, Luffy was amazing. Luffy went to where everyone was chilling. Nami was sobering up, and Sanji was helping the mermaid recover. Thinking of something, Luffy went out. Robin went to talk to Neptune about ancient weapons. Neptune was surprised. Luffy's ship was full of hidden talent. He didn't think Robin could read the historical texts. Still, Neptune told Robin everything he knew about Joy Boy and the Mermaid Princess from 800 years ago. Luffy walked over, too. Hey, I heard you have a road poneglyph here. Who took it? The red one. Red road poneglyph? Robin looked intrigued. Neptune looked at Luffy and sighed. We used to have one, but I don't know where it is now. One of the 4 emperors probably has it. Roger took it in the end. Gotta be Shanks, Luffy muttered. Shanks wants me to fight him. Fine, I'm not scared. Luffy went back to Jinbei, who started laying out the global situation, including the new fleet Admiral Akainu and the new Emperor Blackbeard. Luffy chuckled, thinking of those two losing it. He knew what Jinbei was saying. His current targets were two other guys, former high-ranking Navy officers, Zeta and Akiji. Sorry, I updated late today because of something. Chapter 58. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were both panicking. Luffy, without dwelling on it with Jinbei, led Zoro and Sanji to a snack factory on Fishman Street. Meanwhile, Hody and the others, now imprisoned, were causing a stir. Neptune led everyone to their cell. Hody was unrecognizable, aged and hunched over. Damn humans, my hatred will never die. Revenge will come. Bring me Straw Hat. I'll kill him. Ahahaha. Cough, cough. Am I guilty? My joints ache. Bao Zong. I'm aging on purpose. Geo. First, I'll get my revenge on those straw hats. Dose. Giagia. Dharma. Only we can punish humans. Ikaros. What the hell is going on here? Jinbei was shocked by the sight of the deteriorated fishmen. Don't think you can lock me up, you royal idiots. This cell is a joke. Hody tried to pry the cell open, but his aged body betrayed him, his wrist snapping with a crack. What is this? The right minister had a knowing look. It's the ES, the murderous drug you used. A legendary pill sealed in the treasure chest. Treasure chest. Nami's eyes lit up. It's a national treasure, passed down for generations. 10 years ago, the pills were stolen. The culprit was never found. The right minister explained, we covered it up. Looking back, it was exactly when you left the army, Hody. Yeah, I stole it. You fools. Hody spat. The legendary pill, even historical records are vague. Some say it grants the strength to fight 1,000, others say it only accelerates aging. It's hardly a treasure. Our ancestors likely urged its protection to contain its dangerous effects and prevent it from leaking. You opened Pandora's box. You thought you gained power, but it was just a pipe dream. Shut up, Neptune. Hody crawled forward, cough, cough. You can't talk about revenge like this. Neptune turned to leave. Shut up. We're the chosen Avengers. We'll kill you and all humans. Hody raved. You look pathetic. I'll reconsider your punishment. Neptune left without a backward glance. Wait, Neptune. Shark Star, passing Hody, said, Shark Star, you're a disgrace. Shark Star looked at him, saying, Fishman Island will be reborn. You murdered my mother, but I don't hate you. Please, just be quiet, and don't let the children hear this. Hody was taken aback, his fury momentarily deflated. Meanwhile, at the snack factory. Are the snacks ready yet? Gah! A lion wearing sunglasses and an egg-shaped man were outside the factory. Mom's getting impatient. Baron Tamago sipped coffee from his head, the left minister rushed to smooth things over. After some negotiating, he explained. Look, can you cut us some slack? The factory was attacked by Hody and his gang because of an emergency. The left minister said helplessly. Your civil war is your business. We're starving, hoping to grab some snacks. You agreed to give Mom a few snacks every month in return for using her name, right? Ah. Pecoms clenched his fists. We signed a contract. And I hate to say this, but you know how scary Big Mom is. If you piss her off, you're toast. Pecoms took off his sunglasses, revealing his small eyes. You're so cute when you try to be scary. Someone remarked. Hurry and get those snacks together. Ah. Pecoms was anxious, guided by the locals. Luffy and the others finally arrived, face to face with Pecoms, the left minister, and Baron Tamago. Luffy greeted the residents without mentioning snacks, relieving the left minister. Who's this guy? Pecom squinted at the familiar face, racking his brains. He flipped through his wanted poster. Oh, right, Straw Hat Luffy. No kidding. That famous pirate is actually here. Luffy saw them too, but ignored them, addressing the Fishman Island residents directly. Does this guy even know who we are? Ha! Pecoms was annoyed. Hey, kid. You're pretty cocky. Who do we have here? Someone from the Big Mom Pirates, but not Katakuri or Cracker, just some small fry. Though I gotta say, your lion's pretty cute. Luffy said, looking down at them. Ha! Ha! Kid, are you looking down on me? Bastard! Pecoms took off his sunglasses again, trying to intimidate him. Luffy suppressed a smile. I'm just saying you're cute, but Fishman Island is fresh out of snacks. They've just been through a civil war. How can they produce anything? That's not our problem. Fishman Island is Mom's territory. If they use her name, they need to pay 10 tons of snacks every month. Or Fishman Island will be destroyed. Pecom said, though not without a touch of sympathy. What if I said I want to take over Fishman Island? We're all pirates here, so territory grabs are nothing new, right? Don't you think so, you big egghead behind you? Luffy had been annoyed by Baron Tamago's arrogant air. Pecoms, scaring them isn't going to magically produce snacks. Let's be reasonable. The tea party is in 4 days. If we set sail tomorrow, we should just about make it. Baron Tamago stepped forward. Greetings, childish pirates. I am Baron Tamago. At least remember my name. Then Baron Tamago explained the agreement to Luffy and the others. Sanji was initially taken with the idea that Big Mom might be beautiful. Chapter 59. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shenhe, I am you, childish. Who you calling childish? Luffy yelled, a wide grin on his face. He snatched Baron Tamago by the head and slammed him down. I told you, I'm taking over Fishman Island. Tell Big Mom not to underestimate the worst generation. She's been sitting on that emperor's throne for way too long. Okay, I got a little carried away there, forgot this guy ain't just some rookie, Baron Tamago thought, trying to regain his composure. Picmus went to help, but Sanji cut him off. Just then. Bru buru buru. Bo-chan. Hey, hey, hey. Picmus and Baron Tamago, who was still on the ground, jumped at the sound. It was their mom calling. Hey, Big Mom. You got something to say, say it. Otherwise, come on over here and say it yourself. Luffy shouted into the den mushi. Huh. Sounds like neither Tamago nor Picmus. Who is this? Big Mom's booming voice came through the speaker. I'm Monkey D, Luffy. Luffy didn't yell out his full title, because he was a little shy with so many people around. Monkey D. Ah, Garp's grandson. Right, you're the brat who stirred up the war 2 years ago and took down Old Man Sky. Big Mom sounded intrigued. Fishman Island ain't sending you any more snacks. Our Straw Hat Pirates are taking over. Pirates fight over territory, it's what we do. And this time, I ate all 10 tons. Luffy declared, sounding surprisingly reasonable. Huh. You ate it all. Big Mom roared, crushing the sofa she was sitting on. Brûlé looked terrified. If you try anything, I can't promise that Baron Tamago and Picmus, who are currently pulling double duty as my footstools, will get home safe. Your call. Luffy said, laying it on thick, playing to Big Mom's ego. So you went to all this trouble just for Fishman Island? Fine. I'm interested in this brat who dares to stand up to me. Okay, I'll bite. I'm shifting my focus from Fishman Island to you. Monkey D, Luffy, I'll be waiting. Come to the new world. Big Mom declared, no longer concerned with Fishman Island. Luffy was relieved, he'd been worried she wouldn't take the bait. Great. I'll be there. You've been sitting on that Four Emperors throne too long. You're getting nearsighted and acting uncool. I respect Whitebeard and Shiki way more, and even Kaido's better than you. With that, Luffy hung up. On the other end, Big Mom was speechless for a moment. That arrogant brat. Luffy released Baron Tamago and Picmus. He, Zoro, and Sanji headed back to Ryugu Palace. Luffy wasn't surprised to find that Nami had already raided the treasure room. He sighed, she was definitely Nami. That night, Luffy snuck into Shirahoshi's room and tossed Mekuro out. Shirahoshi rubbed her sleepy eyes. Luffy-sama? What's wrong? Shirahoshi, I have some pills here. One can turn you into a human whenever you want, and another can make you bigger or smaller. You can always change back to your current form. Do you want to take them? Luffy's smooth-talking skills were a little rusty. Luffy-sama, I want to. But Mom said it'll be really painful the first time. Luffy almost choked. Where did she learn that? It's okay, I'll be gentle, Luffy reassured her, holding out 2 pills. Shirahoshi took them. She shrank to around Luffy's height, and legs appeared. Luffy's blood heated up. He pounced. Luffy-sama, please be gentle. Shirahoshi cried out, and Luffy quickly ate a fruit, Corazone's silence fruit. Inside the barrier, only Luffy could hear Shirahoshi. Luffy-sama, but, okay. Shirahoshi whispered, and Luffy made sure to respect her wishes. Gone. Around 4 or 5 in the morning, the sound of steady breathing filled the room. Luffy had set up a soundproof barrier, so. Dog sinks into the river, the two of them lay exhausted, but happy. They smiled at each other, then closed their eyes. Neptune had no idea what had happened, and who knows how he'll react when he finds out. Asleep, Shirahoshi smiled sweetly. In her dream, Neptune, Otoheim, and her 3 brothers gave her and Luffy their blessings. Fishman Island successfully migrated to the surface with Luffy's help, and she was pregnant. There were several women beside her. Pony, Nami, Yuta, and Robin. They were just like her, she didn't know it, but that dream might become reality. Luffy couldn't sleep. He hadn't signed in for days, so he did it. Ding. Congratulations, you got knowledge kill. Knowledge kill. I wonder if there's anything better than that. He now knew every hockey technique in the original story. The system spoke again. Ding. You obtained Momonosuke's silver-white crescent gun, from Bleach, used by Kuchiki Byakuya. The silver-white crescent gun he uses is extremely lethal, and it can also change shape at will. It's incredibly accurate and can easily defeat powerful enemies. I can give this to Usopp. Luffy thought, feeling sleepy. He fell asleep holding Shirahoshi. The next day, Shirahoshi looked at Luffy, still sleeping. She blushed, remembering the night before, and kissed him quickly. Luffy hugged her. Heh, got you, sneaky little kitten. Luffy-sama. Ugh. Luffy ignored her protests and kissed her, his tongue tracing the outline of her lips. They had a 10-minute French kiss. Flustered, Shirahoshi quietly got dressed. Luffy borrowed a skirt and safety shorts from Yuta and got dressed himself. Then they went to find Neptune. P.S. Shinhei, I tested you. Chapter 60. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two arrived at Neptune's palace, and Neptune's eyes widened as he took in Luffy and Shirahoshi walking hand in hand. His gaze then dropped to Shirahoshi's legs. Shirahoshi, what in the world? Neptune started pacing around her, flustered. How did you turn into a human? Shirahoshi smiled sweetly. Father, this is the medicine Luffy gave me. I can change back whenever I want. She then transformed back into a mermaid. Neptune sighed in relief, then turned his attention to Luffy, circling him warily. Okay, okay. Mr. Luffy, it seems my daughter's been influenced by you. Now she's been led astray. Well, water under the bridge, I guess. But if you ever do anything to hurt her, even if you're a top pirate, I'll fight you to the death. Okay, Uncle Neptune, I promise I'll treat Shirahoshi right. So, can she come on an adventure with us? Luffy's eyes flickered with an idea. *K, there are 3 princes to hold down the fort on Fishman Island, right? So maybe, star. That, well, you know how dangerous it is for Shirahoshi out there. Neptune stared at Luffy, hoping for a reassuring answer. Of course I know. And I'm confident I can protect her. Even if the 5 elders themselves show up, I'll keep Shirahoshi safe from harm. And I know what you're worried about. Don't worry, I'm enough of a deterrent as an ancient weapon myself. Luffy stated confidently. That's good. Neptune seemed a bit sheepish, but finally asked, so. Mr. Luffy, do you happen to have any more of those pills you gave Shirahoshi? Luffy laughed. So that's what you're after, old man, he grinned. Well, uncle, these things are pretty rare. I might have a few left, so. You little rascal. You've already basically kidnapped Shirahoshi. What else do you want? Neptune realized Luffy was angling for something, but what could he do? He'd already half given his daughter away. Luffy waved his hand dismissively. Hey, uncle, all I'm saying is, I told Big Mom yesterday that Fishman Island's gonna be under my protection now. Can't have 2 bosses running the same turf, you know. Is that so? Actually, I was planning on asking to fly your pirate flag for protection in the first place. Guess we were both thinking the same thing. Neptune scratched his head, realizing he'd misjudged the situation. Still, if Luffy wants something, I'll figure out how to get it. Luffy didn't press the matter, simply handing Neptune 3 normal pills and 3 human form pills. Neptune accepted them with a smile. Soon after, Luffy and his crew set sail, with everyone from Fishman Island coming to see them off. Luffy looked at Shark Star and said, "You're definitely gonna surpass your dad someday." Neptune, standing nearby, wasn't offended. Instead, he seemed pleased. After all, what father doesn't want his son to succeed? The residents of Fishman Island waved goodbye to Luffy and the others, while Shirahoshi hugged Neptune and her brothers tightly, crying into Luffy's arms. This was, after all, the first time Shirahoshi had truly left home to sail the seas. It was bound to be emotional. Meanwhile, in the New World. Urgent message from headquarters. Multiple coded ships are rapidly surfacing. Everyone, prepare for battle. I repeat, prepare for battle. What's that? A Marine on patrol lowered his binoculars. Pirate ship. A fight was about to go down. Fire. Hurry. Another ship at 2 o'clock. Pirate ships are surfacing one after another. What's happening? It's not like I just got released, and then you Navy guys catch me, on a warship. Don't think you're gonna get credit for this. Shut up and get back. Incoming cannonball. The colonel's in danger. I'll protect you. Leave this to me. A gaggle of sleazy-looking men with adoring eyes and pig-like snouts rushed in one direction. Here they come again. A woman in a Navy uniform, but wearing a Hawaiian shirt underneath, holding her sword, stepped on a dog's head and jumped up. She gently redirected the cannonball with her blade, sending it off course. The lecherous men went wild with admiration. You're amazing, Colonel. Your swordsmanship is so beautiful. It's not just your swordsmanship that's beautiful. You guys need to pull your weight. You've all had anti-bombardment training, right? What good is it if you don't use it? The female Marine landed on the deck and pointed at the mast. Colonel, that's the mast. One of the more well-meaning simps pointed out. I'll clean your glasses for you. A particularly ugly guy with a slimy voice offered her his glasses. Thank you. So cute. You're a flower blooming in the cesspool that is G5. I'd die for the colonel. Me too. Me too, that the woman was a mix of embarrassed and annoyed. You guys better stop talking nonsense during a battle. This is why G5 isn't like the real Navy. If you think you can take advantage of me just because I'm a woman, you've got another thing coming. No way. We're all smitten with your cuteness, Colonel Tashigi. You're messing with me. You have no sense of duty as Marines. The woman was indeed Tashigi. In the past 2 years, she had followed Smoker to G5. Enough, Tashigi. I'm doing the interrogation here. Smoker, ever the straight man, interrupted Tashigi's rant. Tashigi turned to the captured pirate. So, it's like that. Were you all captured by Hody Jones? No wonder no new ships have passed through Fishman Island this month. We were captured, no, we were enslaved. But the Hody group that caused the civil war was defeated by some pirates. We were freed because of them. A pirate captain confessed. Some pirates, huh? Smoker immediately thought of Luffy, who had stirred up the war at Marineford 2 years ago. If it hadn't been for Hancock back then. I'm not telling you their name. The pirate captain had some pride, but not much. Idiot, hurry up and tell them. They're not just ordinary Navy, they're G5. They use pirates as bait to lure sharks, burn dead pirates in bonfires, and ignore headquarters orders. They're a bunch of crazy outlaws in the Navy. If you fall into their hands, who knows what'll happen, another pirate chimed in, and they're led by White Hunter, Smoker. Vice Admiral Smoker. Are we gonna be okay dealing with these guys? Stop, I'll tell you the name, just spare us. The second guy couldn't hold back any longer. It was the Straw Hat Pirates who defeated Hody's group. Ah. I know, you idiot.